rolling up my sleeves. I am rolling up my sleeves. I am. Why is it dark? There. Ah, that's better. Is this pink enough? I found a light pink to go with the light pink. The light pink shirt. Yes, it totally works. Hi. Yes, it's Alison in the living room again. It's Sunday. This is very like my Sunday pinky bonnet. So it's Sunday. And I have so many things happening. I got crazy. It's not Cara Brownie Day. It is not Cara Brownie Day, but it was time to make Cara Brownies. I used the, Chatfield's powder, the Cara powder, and it's the recipe, like, oh, it's so easy. I cheated. I decided I wanted them more cake-like and less fudgy thick. So I added a teeny bit of water and a teeny bit of baking powder, and they are now fluffy. They're super chocolatey, cake-like. Hi! So, what day is it? It's so many days. It is so many days. So I pull out my paper. Today is so many things. We have international days as well as national days. It is International Whale Shark Day. Not whale, not a shark, a whale shark. A whale shark is something, I looked everything up this time because I'm like, huh, what? Whale sharks. Whale sharks are, they're enormous because, well, hence whale shark. But they're more like a whale than a shark, really, because Whale Shark Day is every year, August 30th. Okay, these colossal creatures, blah, 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 marine conservation efforts. What the heck is a whale shark? It is not the regular predator-type shark. Whale sharks stand out from other shark species. Wide, flat heads, large mouths, spotted bodies. But they eat plankton. They eat plankton, like a whale. They're not the sharks that come and eat you. They are more like whales in that they eat plankton. So whale sharks, we like whale sharks. They are good. They are plankton patrollers. Benefits the ocean. It's good. It's a good thing. We like whale sharks. They regulate the ocean. They're wonderful. But they have no natural predators, so they are a top-level predator, so if they want to, I guess, they can eat you. But they eat plankton. So there you are. So we celebrate Whale Shark Day, and there's all sorts of, like, places where you can go to gviusa.com, and they all sorts of, like, ocean conservation, be nice to your whale shark, which works because it's also National Beach Day. And yay, go to the beach, except it's Sunday, it's probably crowded, or your beach is closed because of COVID, But part of Beach Day is clean up any trash that's on the beach that the things like whale sharks might accidentally eat. Whale sharks, beach, it all goes together. Then we have like two really sad ones, but that also go together. It is International Day of the Victims of Enforced Disappearance, and at the same time, it's National Grief Awareness Day. Well, those two go together. It's disappearing people. You know, oppressive governments kidnapping them and making them disappear. Nobody knows where they went, if they killed them, if they didn't. Horrifying thing. Hundreds of thousands of people have vanished during conflicts or periods of repression in at least 85 countries around the world. So yes, it's been used as a strategy to spread terror, etc. They come and they take people away in the night and they don't know where they went. And it's terrible. And there you are. And there's a website. It's the UN.org. And they have a whole page about victims of enforced disappearance. You can read all about it and how you can help. And same goes Grief Awareness Day. Also, there's a lot of that right now. A lot of people, there are a lot of people who've lost family members to this terrible disease, to this COVID thing, and there's a lot of kids dealing with grief, and indeed, they have a website. There's a website. It's always a website. But there's a whole National Grief Awareness Day, and you can go to the website and you can look it up, and they talk about looking for signs of grief in yourself and loved ones, and how self-care is vital and during and after a loss. So if you feel like you might be experiencing grief, don't just do it all, keep it to yourself. Call someone and tell them. And watch for your friends who may have lost someone recently, especially kids, and look and try to see what you can do to be supportive. On the upside, it is National Toasted Marshmallow Day. Someone saying this is Dorothy Hamill? It's short and sassy. It's National Toasted Marshmallow Day. Now, I'm not going to build a fire on camera, so I took my giant marshmallows. These are giant jumbo marshmallows. And I put them on a skewer, and I fired up the gas flame on the stove. And I did. I just totally toasted them on the stove. Not quite as good as over an open fire, like a barbecue, but pretty darn good. And they are, indeed, crunchy on the outside. Look at that. It's like leopard spots. Crunchy on the outside and hot marshmallowy on the inside. Very messy thing to eat, but I'm going to take a bite. Hey, that's pretty good. Marshmallows, seriously, what do you do with them? You toast them. You make s'mores. You make marshmallow Rice Krispie treats. That's a thing. You can do that. Melt them down with butter. Rice Krispies, boom. That's kind of it. Now, you can cut them up and make little decorations on your cakes and things. That's good. You can sort of like sculpt things out of your marshmallow. But really, this is kind of it, is the fire it up and toast it. In the winter, though, right? Hot cocoa. Hot cocoa, right? That's good. Now, as you might imagine, all these sad things, like save the whales, and the grief, and the human rights violations. Yes, what is the history of Marshmallow Day? The National Confectioners Association sponsors Toasted Marshmallow Day. So it's the marshmallow people. Remember that pecan thing? I said there's like no pecans in the stores. But they're totally trying to get us to do National Pecan Day and Chocolate Pecan Pie Day and Pecan Pie Day and Pecan Itself Day because it's summer and nobody's buying pecans. But it is August and it is a good time for toasted marshmallows. So they were totally, they called that one correctly. And now I do have some goldfish, which will be an interesting salty taste after the marshmallow and the brownies. Oh, let's go. Microwaving the toasted marshmallow. I don't know. Wait, Lucky Charms marshmallow. That's right, you can get Lucky Charms, just the marshmallows. Also, you can make Lucky Charms marshmallow treats. You melt your butter and your marshmallows like you make Rice Krispie treats and put in Lucky Charms. How sweet would that be? It would be disgusting, but it's like good. You can do it with Cocoa Puffs too. Well, there you are. I don't like the marshmallows in the microwave. It is not the same. I mean, they do kind of go, ooh, it's disgusting and lovely, but it's just not, it's not a toasted marshmallow. So, we are still reading the fabulous Prairie Lotus. Linda Sue Park. And, oh man, we're like halfway through. We're like burning through this. It's going to take no time at all. So she's been surviving school, and it's been a little difficult, a lot difficult. There's already been a PTA meeting, instances of bullying. She has the cutest boy in school trying to look out for and help her, but his paw has flipped out and made him go home. And she's thinking about her mom, and she's being bullied, but, I mean, she's still alive. At least they haven't hit her or anything. They're just being horrible. And now the last straw was literally everyone walked out of school. Except Dolly, who is essentially the Nellie Olson. She stayed, like, just to be terrible, and then her dad came and got her, and even she couldn't stay. So she's now, like, the only person in school, and the teacher's not quite sure what to do with this. Teacher's backing her up, because the teacher backed her up and said, no, we're going to have school. Some people are staying home. Some people are hysterical because it's a Chinese girl. No, I'm not. I don't care. But now it's gotten really awful. So she's gone home and is trying to figure out what the heck to do, because, like, no one's coming to school. And she's, like, crying and thinking about her mom. But, by golly, she's going to school. She's going back to school. The whole town has, like, walked out, except 3 people. And she's like, I'm going. I'm going to just keep going. So, chapter 13, in some ways, this is so sad, this poor girl. The rest of that week was wonderful. Hannah, Bess, and Sadie were the only students at the school. Oh, dear me. Miss Walters tailored the lessons to their needs. She had both of the older girls spend more time on arithmetic, and Hannah paid extra attention to history. Well, that's good also, because remember, Hannah needed to catch up in arithmetic. Besides the enjoyment of school, her work at home held a little extra interest when on Tuesday evening, she cooked the prairie turnips. Oh, right, the Indians gave her the prairie turnips and she had to soak them. Well, she did. She'll make prairie turnips. Softened after their 3-day soak, they boiled up nicely. Hannah was so eager for a taste, she burned the roof of her mouth. I could have done that with that marshmallow just now. Papa had said they tasted of half potato, half turnip, and she agreed. More substantial than a turnip, not as starchy as a potato. That sounds pretty good. She was charmed by the addition of a new flavor to what often seemed like a never-ending, never-changing menu of cornmeal and beans. Ooh. That week, Miss Walters always found time during the school day for a reading session, which all of them enjoyed. On Wednesday, they spent an entire hour reading aloud to one another, with Bess and Hannah taking in turns to choose pieces from the 6th reader, not the 5th. The 6th reader. Well, see, they took turns reading to each other at school, and here I am. I'm taking my turn reading to you. Reading to people, it's good for you. It's good for the brain. This is very good for me. You guys are all enjoying this, but you have no idea what it's doing for me. It's fabulous for my brain, and it calms me. And then as an actress, this is like thousands of dollars worth of acting lessons that I get to read aloud every day. So it's like, thank you. So 6th reader, yay. Hannah wondered why Miss Walters had made the switch. Near dismissal on Friday, the teacher finally spoke about it. Bess and Hannah, I have an idea that I'd like to put to you. Hannah, your father told me you would need 1 or 2 more terms of school before you could graduate. In assessing your studies, I find that I disagree. I think you're very nearly ready now, she smiled. Hannah shifted a little in her seat, unaccustomed to praise. Thank you, ma'am. Bess, in my opinion, you are in a similar position, and I know that you're hoping to become a school teacher yourself. Oh, yes, miss, Bess replied. Hannah was surprised. Of the oldest girls, Edith seemed to Hannah the most likely to become a teacher. Edith was friendly and vivacious and never seemed nervous when singled out to respond, but Bess often looked like Hannah felt, as if she were forcing herself to speak. Yet although Bess's voice was quiet, she always spoke clearly. We have an unusual opportunity here, Miss Walters said. Mr. Harris has written to Washington to inquire about certain laws governing school enrollment and attendance. The families of the other students are planning to wait until he receives a response. There are only 2 more weeks of the term, and I doubt very much that he will hear anything before school is finished. Good point. I mean, 2 weeks, it's not like there's no airmail. It's Pony Express. The mail's going to go on the train and the thing into Washington, and then it's going to go through several bureaus, and they're going to go, why is some no-name small town in South Dakota writing to us about whether Chinese children can go to school and whether any of the children have to go to, what? And so it's not going to be a priority letter back. They're not really going to worry about it. And when they finally answer, then that's going to get on the train and get on horseback. So it's going to be more than 2 weeks before they're here. So that's good that he said, no, she stays in school unless I get told otherwise. Because the town was like, pull her out of school. No. So she folded her hands together and leaned forward to look at the girls earnestly. With so few students, I have decided not to hold an exhibition. I've been thinking that we could end this term another way. Remember, they were going to have a whole exhibition from the town. She was going to read, but no, the whole town has flipped out and gone home because it was a half Chinese girl in the school. End of the world. So what to do, and she wants to graduate. Now the teacher's being sneaky. She knows that the girl, poor Hannah, wanted to stay in school for a while and graduate, but she also sees that this is a disaster. No one's coming back to school. The letter from Washington might even say, oh yes, absolutely, Chinese and white people aren't supposed to go to school together. They have no idea. It's the 1800s. Anything could happen. So she doesn't know, but she knows it's going to be a train wreck. The families aren't going to come back. But this poor girl is already well into the 6th reader and studying her brains out. She could just give her a diploma and, let's move along. Give the girl a diploma. That's what she wants. She can get a job. Everything will be great. And then she can leave and get on with her life, and everyone else can shut up and go home. So the teacher's kind of like, how do we fix this? Let's get you a diploma. How do we get out of here? So it's smart. It's smart. And I've decided not to hold an exhibition. I've been thinking that we could end this term another way. I believe that if the 2 of you work hard on the lessons I set for you, you can be prepared to take the graduation examination on the last day. Your scores will likely not be as high as they might if you had more time, but if you perform as I expect you to, you will complete your studies and the school board will be able to grant you diplomas. Apparently she's trying to get rid of Bess as well. As she said, Hannah's she really thought Edith would be the one, but Bess is smart, but apparently she's trying to, maybe Bess is shy, and teacher's let's not make Bess suffer any more than she has to. We'll get her a diploma, and she's smart, but she's suffering here. Hannah realized at once what Miss Walters was not saying. If she graduated, the townspeople would send their children to school again next term because she would no longer be there. It was a compromise, an unsatisfying one. Rotten eggs. Oh, that's her big swear word. Rotten eggs. That's solving the problem by going around it, not by facing it. Bess answered first. I'll speak to my parents, miss. For myself, I would be glad to graduate this term. If I can get a teaching certificate and teach next term, it would be a great way to help my family. I think my parents will see it that way. Very good, Bess, Miss Walters said. She turned to Hannah. Oh, well, there you go. That's what Miss Walters doing. She knows that Bess's family needs the money, just like Laura's family. And didn't we say Bess was so the Laura prototype? She's got the braids, and she's really sweet, and she just happens to be named Bess. There you go. Teacher knows Bess's family needs the money, and that if she can teach right away. So yeah, it's totally she's the Laura of the group. Oh, good. Did I not pull my bonnet up? I pull my bonnet up, I pull my bonnet down, and I love this bonnet. I love it's got lace. It's the light pink. I have the dark pink and the light pink. It's the light pink. She turned to Hannah. Hannah waited a few moments and took a long breath before she felt able to speak. I want to sew, she said. She looked up at Miss Walters. I don't need a teaching certificate for that. I don't even need to graduate. I want to make dresses in my father's shop. She was astonished to find herself telling Miss Walters what is essentially private business, but now that she had gotten started, she couldn't stop. He doesn't think I can do it, but I know I can. If I could graduate, maybe it will, I don't know, prove to him that I can do what I set out for. Miss Walters nodded thoughtfully. Talk to your father about it, she said. I'm sure he'll understand. He's probably in on this, huh? I will, miss. Hannah wasn't as sure as Miss Walters seemed to be. I'll have my answer on Monday. When Hannah arrived home that day, she found a note from Papa asking her to come straight to the shop. You know it's trouble. The building was now fully framed inside it, and work was beginning on the interior. While Papa and Charlie Hart did the heavy carpentry work, Hannah had been following behind them, scraping and sanding. The first floor would be divided into 3 spaces. It was a big store. The front half of the building was the shop. The back half was to be partitioned to form a sizable storeroom and their kitchen parlor with a lean-to outside the back door. The upstairs would be 2 bedrooms and a small sitting area. Papa was about to leave to meet the afternoon freight train. He was expecting a load of furniture and fitments from Chicago. Fitments, I guess that's accessories. Furnitura, accessories. Fitments. He was expecting a load of furniture and fitments from Chicago. The goods he ordered were shipped first to Tracy in Minnesota. I've been there. Then came to LaForge on the railroad line between Tracy and Pierre. Now, remember we talked about in this other book that there's a train from Tracy in Minnesota to, from Walnut Grove to Tracy and then into South Dakota. But, Walnut Grove and Tracy are, it's like a 10-minute drive. It's like nothing. But they haven't had a train back then because they didn't have cars. Papa sent in the orders to mail, and it usually took around 3 weeks for the goods to arrive. Hannah stopped him and pulled a folded piece of paper from her pocket. What's this? He asked. The storeroom, she said. I was thinking, you're going to be in the shop most of the time, and I'm the one who'll be in and out of the storeroom. I have a few ideas to make things more sensible for me to work there. Was she 14? She had done a rough sketch of the space and written a list as well. It was a real room, much more than a closet. There was a countertop along 2 walls with drawers, cupboards, and shelves below and above. The list contained several items like wall hooks and baskets and pasteboard boxes for more storage. She's very fancy. But she did that before. She told them, no, you should do the 2 windows and you should do a double door so the women in the hoop skirts can get in. She thinks of these things. Her sketch showed a nicely organized storeroom, but in Hannah's mind, it would eventually become something more, a workroom where she could sew dresses. Papa tapped on the sketch. Cook stove here? Yes, she had drawn the cook stove in the center of the partition wall. The front of the stove with 2 burners and an oven would be in the kitchen, while the rear, with its warming shelf, was in the workroom. It'll warm both spaces in the winter, so there won't be any need for a heater in the storeroom. That'll save on coal. Good, he said. Show this to Charlie. He handed the paper back to her and left for the depot. So her father, although he's very freaked out about how everyone treats her because she's half Chinese, and he's terrified of the racism, and he's not sure she should be going to school, and he doesn't think that, like, they'll buy her dresses. Boy, he takes her word as an architect, as a designer, as someone laying out the scheme for the whole store. He's like, yep, she's right. He's like handing it to the workman going, do what she says. And when she came in and said, oh, well, the women, the hoop skirts are coming back. They're not going to get on. He went, double doors, do the thing. Do what he's like. So he's put her in charge of designing the building and being the architect. He is not batting an eye at that. He's like, yep, when you're right, you're right. Boom. So that's really cool. I mean, she's like 14, but he recognizes that she has like a gift that whether she knows make dresses or whatever else she knows how to do, she's like got like architect gene. She knows how to lay out the building. She completely gets it. Hannah wanted to do a little hop skip of satisfaction. True enough. Back of the cook stove would heat the storeroom. What she hadn't mentioned is that it could also be used to heat a flat iron, a necessity for dressmaking. Right? She's thinking ahead. She's thinking ahead, making that dress shop. She talked to Mr. Hart about a few more details. Could the cupboards go all the way up to the ceiling? Dusting the tops of cupboards was such a bother. And could he put a fold-out ironing board into the wall? And no cupboards or shelves under the countertop where it passed beneath the window. That would be like a little desk. She'd have a chair there for sitting and sewing where the light's best. She is devious. She is on it. She's so on it. It wasn't until Sunday night that the subject of school arose. Good. She kept him real busy and it didn't come up. Uh-oh. But notice he hasn't pulled her out. He must know that it's like chaos over there, but he hasn't pulled her out. It wasn't until Sunday, and Papa was the one who brought it up. They were sitting in the kitchen after supper. There was no place to sit in the parlor anymore. It was too full of store goods. Papa was reading the newspaper while Hannah bent over her arithmetic book. Heard that you and the Harris girls are the only ones in school now, he said. She looked up in surprise. She had not talked to him about Miss Walter's proposal. As long as I'm attending school, it's all the same to him. I don't want him to give him a chance to say I should stop going. Yes, Papa, she replied carefully. Miss Walters is preparing Bess and me for diploma examinations at the end of next week. So if you pass, you'll be finished. Yes. Silence. She was about to return to her studies when he spoke again. A few people have been saying I should take you out of school, he said. They say it's not fair, that you're keeping all the rest from attending. She wanted to protest that it was their choice to not send the children to school, but Papa was still talking. The way I see it, you're not stopping anyone, he said. Only the government or the school board can do that. Hannah sat up a little straighter, heartened by his words. Has the school board said anything to you? He shook his head. Still seems like Miss Walters has found a solution. You graduate. That's what you want. And then you're out of school. That's what those other folks want. Everybody gets what they want. She hesitated, trying to decide what to say. No, Pop, I do want to graduate, but I also want to be able to attend school like the other students, and I want everyone else to see that it's only fair. Miss Walter's solution doesn't achieve any of that. Besides, why should people get what they want when what they want is just plain wrong? She could have spoken those thoughts aloud, but she would have felt as if she was fighting battles everywhere, in town, in school, and at home, and she needed at least a little rest from the fighting. I'll do my best to pass, Papa, she said instead. And after that, she would help Papa in the shop, just as Mama had done. Papa intended for Hannah to work in the storeroom, keeping track of orders, making lists of supplies that ran short. Hannah had other plans. Mama had been Papa's seamstress, first as his employee and then, after they married, as his partner. Their men's tailor shop had been patronized by all kinds of people, including both Chinese and white customers. The shop had earned an excellent reputation based on two things, Papa's service and Mama's sewing. Mama had taught Hannah to sew when she was barely more than a toddler. First with a big blunt tapestry needle that she pushed in and out of a piece of wire mesh. Oh, did you ever have that kit when you were a little kid? It was a needlepoint kit to make like little needlepoint things to frame or to put on pillows. But it wasn't like real needlepoint, because it was for little kids, so you wouldn't cut yourself to pieces. It was like mesh. It was like a plastic mesh. And it was colored. It had the painting, the little dot paint by numbers. It had the little picture, the flower, whatever, on it. And you had like almost thick thread, almost yarn, and a needle that you probably couldn't hurt yourself with, unless you really tried. And you push it through. But it was basically needlepoint, and then you created a little picture, and then you worked your way up to the piece of cloth in the little frame with the real thread. I'm not really a sewer, but I can do needlepoint. I can sew on a button and fix a hem, and I can fix tears and rips in things. I have fixed tears and rips in shirts where you could repairs in sewing land, little things. Prairie green. So she did the wire mesh thing. Oh, then the slimmer needle on burlap, which far more than the mechanics of stitching. Fabric choice, color, design, and especially how to suit the garment to the customer. Spending nearly every waking moment in the shop, she had absorbed all those lessons. She so fine and well made that every woman in town would want one. She would sew her way into the hearts of the women of LaForge. Hannah spent the next 2 weeks alternating between study much more eagerly than she did her history book. She discussed her choices with Papa. Several types of muslin for bed sheets, undergarments, night clothes, a wide selection of calico. Only a handful of woolens. They would order more of those toward the end of the summer. A wine-colored watered silk, a black cashmere, a midnight blue velvet. Boy, that's a lot of clothes. Backing her up on this. He is totally supporting her on this, going, yes, order, here's the catalog, honey, order some more cloth. But that does seem a lot. Cashmere and velvet and the watered silk. Never sell them out here, he said. Oh, those are for city folks. You might be right, Papa, she said, but remember, shirt. She once told me it was important to have nice things in a shop, even if they're not going to sell, because they bring in customers just to look, and then you end up making a sale. Oh, that is very modern thing. And they stock things, and they will have stuff that is maybe very expensive, that they maybe know that most of their customers in their region really don't buy and can't afford, but they'll put that thing up in the window. And look. Hannah. She's not only, okay, she's an architect, she's the marketing director. She's like, this girl can do it all. What Mama had actually said was, aspirational. It's called aspirational shopping, aspirational marketing, where you put the thing that people would like to maybe have, that they're not really going to get. She's right. Hannah did not repeat that to Papa. He would have dismissed it as codswallop. Pick two then, he said. I'm not buying 3 whole bolts that might not sell. She chose. But he would not yield an inch on the question of the mirror. The shop in Los Angeles had been fitted with a huge wall mirror, 3 feet wide and 6 feet tall. No other shop in Chinatown had such a magnificent mirror. It might. Mama had insisted on the mirror, and she'd had to fight Papa to get it. For one thing, it had been almost unthinkably expensive. For another, Papa was convinced it would never arrive intact. They were sure to break during the cross-country journey from back. Yeah, a mirror? It's pretty risky. Against his expectations, the mirror arrived in one piece. As soon as it was installed, the shop seemed grander, airier, more spacious. Accustomed to peering at themselves in small handheld looking glasses or cheap, uneven, saucer-sized mirrors, folks came to the shop just to see the big mirror and their mirrors in their homes, and they've been outrageously expensive. People didn't do that. If they were lucky, they the Olsons have a nice big mirror on top of the dresser. But still, that would be like from here up, and they could like maybe back up to the other side of the room and kind of like check out their dress. But full-length mirrors, full-length mirror, people would. They would have come in just to see themselves in a full-length mirror. It would be like seeing themselves in 3D. It'd be that exciting. So, yep. That she has very true. Taken it for granted. As a young girl, she had loved blowing a puff of breath at the glass. The condensation obscured her reflection. Then she would watch as the moisture dried and giggle to see her face revealed little by little. Oh, that's fun. Oh, he said with a glare, we don't need any kind of mirror, let alone one like that. We're selling dress goods, not clothes. Oh, see, yeah, he doesn't know yet. That's why. She knew from his become a dressmaker in a shop without a mirror. Yeah, but he doesn't know she's going to be a dressmaker. He's like, why do you need a mirror? We're selling bolts of cloth. What are you talking about? It's like, no idea. You know, we also bolted to the wall. It was impossible to, well, he may feel still very, grief. He's still sad about Mama. He may not. Maya is good at. Okay. On the last day of the term, she and Bess took their examinations in grammar, orthography. Oh, that's like handwriting. Like, it doesn't, that, my handwriting didn't have penmanship classes. Miss Walters allowed them to choose the order of the tests. Hannah began given an hour to write down their answers for each test, except arithmetic, an hour and a quarter. It's a lot. And history, 45 minutes. The questions were difficult and seemed to get harder as the day went on. It's like an hour each, which required her to diagram a complex compound sentence. She was so tired that her pen wobbled as she circled the words and drew the lines. You may wait if you wish, girls, Miss Walters said. I won't be long. We should go. History, geography, and orthography. That's 5 things. And it's an hour each, but you get an hour and a quarter for arithmetic. History, only 45 minutes, so that it works out. It's the same. There's a 5-hour long thing. The girls took the next one. I was going to say, because 5 hours long. Okay, she had to have graded 4 of them in advance, because there's like no way. At first, Hannah had found it distracting, wondered what mistake she had made and how Miss Walters. Now she stood and walked to the door. She badly needed to stretch her legs. She stepped out into the yard. It was very warm. the sun heating the air without a breeze to freshen it, as if pressing hard toward summer. She walked toward the corner of the in surprise. Bess was in the doorway. She came outside and joined Hannah in the shade. Well, I knew the arithmetic would be hard, Hannah said. It always is for me. As for the rest, she looked at Bess and shrugged. I'll start over. All of it was hard. I thought so, too. Those history questions. I didn't have enough time. I know. I could only write down 1 or 2 points when there was so much more I thought I should include. What about geography? What did you write for the principal rivers of Europe? The girls chatted for a few minutes more. Then Miss Walters came to the door and called them in. Bess smiled. Good luck to both of us, she said. Hannah smiled back. For a moment, it didn't seem to matter what she had scored on the test, because maybe she had made a friend. Well, there you go, of course, because Dolly's the Nellie and Bess is the Laura, and she's nice. And so there, yeah, so she has someone she identifies with, and this is Girl Estate. Her parents didn't pull her out of school, and she's still there, so she did. She's, phew. And Sam's her friend, but his parents are psychopaths and are going to beat him and his sister. They're going to beat his little sister if he comes to school, so he's being held hostage, her friend Sam, who's nice to her. But Bess is her friend. She's made a friend. So that's good. Hannah went straight to the shop the first time she had been there in nearly 2 weeks. Someone said, oh, is she going to pass anyway? Are they going to pass her anyway? You know, I wonder if the teacher's going to just go, but she was already in the 6th reader when she showed up. So maybe she's getting like a C in arithmetic, but I'm thinking she's going to pull A's in like the grammar. We also, her handwriting. She studied calligraphy. It's like perfect. So she's probably that and the handwritten, the grammar. She's going to ace that. History's hard, but she's been studying, so she's got a high score in the grammar. That'll make up for the arithmetic score. I'm thinking, hoping. Hannah went straight to the shop. It was the first time she had been there in nearly 2 weeks. How it had changed. Before, all she had seen were the bones of the building. Now, an honest-to-goodness shop stood in front of her, and a handsome one at that. The siding had been painted a pale sage green with darker green trim. The double doors with their center panels and brass knobs gave the facade an elegant look. The large window to the left of the door let in plenty of light. It's much fancier than... She's probably going to get in trouble because it's fancier than the other shops. Hannah stepped into the spacious interior, which smelled of freshly cut wood. There were piles of curly wood shavings everywhere. She ran her hand down the counter that Mr. Hart had built along the south wall. Behind it were shelves right up to the ceiling, each shelf wide enough to hold bolts of fabric. In the corner was the door to the storeroom, more shelves lined the east and north walls. A fancy coal heater stood in the other back corner, the decorative scrolls of its nickel top shiny with newness. She followed the sound of hammering through the door behind the counter into the storeroom. Papa was nailing lath around the window. Mr. Hart was sawing a board placed across 2 sawhorses. The room looked very like Hannah's sketch, with countertop along 2 sides. Hello, Papa. Hello, Mr. Hart. They both stopped their work to greet her. She put her books down on the counter, pulled out a piece of paper, and held it up in front of her. Mr. Hart tilted his head and began to read aloud. This is to certify that Hannah May Edmonds has hereby completed the regular course of instruction. He stopped and glanced from her to Papa and back again. Your diploma? Papa asked. Hannah nodded. Charlie had gone back to reading. Now he looked up and whistled. Ooh, listen to this. Geography, 87. History, 84. Orthography, 100. Told you. Arithmetic, 77. Grammar, 98. Told you she'd ace the grammar. There are some mighty fine marks there. Papa walked over and took the diploma from her to read it himself. When he looked at her, she was surprised by the gentleness in his eyes. He cleared his throat. I was thinking of your mama, he said softly. She'd be right proud of you. Thank you, Papa, she could only whisper, caught between a smile on her lips and a lump in her throat. Aw, because he's so rough and mean, but the diploma got to him. Yeah, it got to him. Pa set the date for the grand opening, a week from Tuesday. One more week of shipments, then the weekend to make sure everything's ready. Don't care to open on a Monday. Tuesday it is. Yes, Papa. We'll be moving in over tomorrow. I'm counting on you to get the rented place packed up. Well, that wouldn't be too bad. Knowing that their stay in the rented house would be short, she had kept things pretty well organized for repacking. She could hardly believe that they would be living in a house of their own. Would this be the last time she would have to pack for moving? Papa was still speaking. Those parties Mama used to give. The mention of Mama caught her attention. Oh, I remember them, Hannah said. Before Mama got sick, she had hosted parties at the shop in Los Angeles 2 or 3 times a year. Those parties were among Hannah's fondest memories. She had been so young, only 4 or 5. Still, a few of the details stood out clearly. Mama always served lemonade and another cold drink made from jujube fruits. Jujube fruits. A kind of dried Chinese date. Oh, I bet that was good. So yes, she had 2 kinds, lemonade and Chinese jujube fruit. She bought mooncakes from Chinatown's best bakery and arranged a beautiful tray of grapes and orange slices or tangerines. People ate and drank and chatted, looked at the goods, shopped, put in orders. Customers would give Hannah sweets or pennies. Even though it was a tailor shop for men, the women were always invited. Mama and Papa had known that it was often the ladies who chose the tailor for their menfolk. The women met old friends, as well as neighbors they hadn't known before. The shop became a neighborhood hub, and people looked forward to the gatherings. See, Mama's very smart. She did that, and that's what Hannah's thinking. Hannah's thinking the same kind of thing. A party would be good for the opening, Papa said, but I won't have time. You'll have to do it. He knows Hannah. She's just like Mama. Hannah's eyes widened. He wants me to take charge of the party? Yes, because you're like marketing director. You're architect and you're marketing director. Totally. It was a daunting thought. She had never given a party. In fact, she hadn't been to one since those parties of Mama's. She thought back and realized what she mostly remembered was how exciting it had been to see a group of people in one place enjoying themselves and each other. Oh, ain't that the truth? A second recollection came to mind then, serving soup to the Indian women and girls. You feed people. That's part of what makes a party. Oh yes, all my parties I've had. Food, anyone, some of you have been to my parties. The food, there's always food. There is always tons of food. There's always food for like an army. There's always so much food. And I got that from my dad. It's like, how many people are coming? Aren't you making food for like 47 people? It's like 10 people coming. Always like to make food. Always like to have good food. Lots of different things. Next party. Here we go, somebody's house party. And they got drinks and stuff, but they literally have like a bag of chips. The little chips. Maybe that Lipton onion dip. And you're like, well, that's it. Like order a pizza. You could kind of, food. You gotta make a little something. Order something in if you can't cook, but you make a little something for everybody. There was no bakery in town, and fresh fruit would cost a fortune to have shipped in. But I could make a cake or some cookies. She looked at Papa. I'll need lemons. For lemonade, she said. Cost too much, he objected. She thought for a moment. Ginger shrub, then. Shrub was made with shrub or shrub? Shrub? It's a drink, probably shrub. Ginger shrub was made with powdered ginger and cider vinegar stirred into cool water with a little sugar. It was a pleasant, refreshing drink that would cost a lot less than lemonade. Oh, it was that drink that Laura and Caroline would make to take out to Pa and the workmen, and I think in Farmer Boy even had it. It was that ginger water with the little flavoring, and it was 1800s Gatorade, and it would keep them going in the heat. It was tasty, and some people drink it like lemonade, but there you go. If you didn't have lemons, you had the vinegar, and if you sweetened the vinegar in the water, lemonade. And you'll need to get in white flour and white sugar. He put up his hands. Anything else? She knew he was being sarcastic, but he didn't sound angry. Papa, the party was your idea. If we're not going to do it right, we oughtn't do it at all. One of Mama's sayings. Write me up a list, he said. I'll get what I can. It might not be everything you need. So, You'll just have to make do. Oh, she can. Oh, she can. Go. Well, that's up. We're up to chapter. We're like speeding through it. It's so good that I think it's great. What she did it. She graduated. Okay, the teacher was like, I gotta get these girls out of here. This best girl's family desperately needs the money, and if I graduate her, she can start teaching and start bringing in a check. And I need to help this girl and her family. And she's shy and doesn't really like being here. So how can I move this along? Because she's smart, but we're just wasting time. She should just get to work and start teaching little kids and get on with it. And then this poor Chinese girl is brilliant and has the best handwriting in the room, and it's the best at grammar. And it's a catastrophe, and everyone has walked out of school, and they've written to the government, and it's just a nightmare. But if she graduates, we're all out of here. We can like get on with our lives. So yeah, the teacher she was smart. And in this case, you know, that's the thing. She did have it. She moved up to the 6th reader, and she already knew the 6th reader when she arrived. So she did complete all the readers, and she got a 77 in arithmetic. I'm not sure I got a 77 in arithmetic. It's hard. And I knew she was going to ace the handwriting and the grammar, so she pulled it off. So Papa's being pretty bold, because we've already established that most of the town are just raving, crazed bigots. So he's going to throw a party where the half-Chinese daughter is going to prepare the food and the drink, and they're going to come in. It's going to be tight, because on the one hand, they're going to want to go, because it's a new business in town, and it is going to be a nice party, and they want to support a fellow citizen, who is a white man who has purchased a store, who is paying taxes, who has bought all sorts of stuff from all of them and hired them to work on it. They can't really shun him and like say, you know, as Mr. Harris, the Justice of the Peace, has said, well, how many of you has he gotten work and you've taken his money? Hello. So they kind of have to, Chamber of Commerce style, drag themselves to the party. They can't not go in a way. But, you know, they're also going to go party with Chinese girl, eating in the same room as the Chinese girl. You know they're gonna pull some stuff. They're gonna pull some stuff that's gonna get weird. But I think she's gonna, you know, she's gonna bake something that's gonna be like so amazing that they're not gonna be able to resist. And then, oh yeah, wait for let's hope the government's letter's gonna arrive eventually. Hope it says. Let's hope it says. What are you, crazy? Of course you can go to school. So there you are. So awesome. So tomorrow is Monday. And I will be doing this again, and I'll be reading, and things are happening. Yes, posting. I see. Thank you about my move thing here on the September 24th, right over there, 80 minutes. And I'll have an October show. We're doing a little show, so that's going to be good. We have bonnets, we have tin cups, so if you're ordering. Yes, September 20th. Thank you, Cindy. Yes, Cindy is posting there. Yes, Thursday, September 24th. I have a little show. Come to, and then yes, I'm going to be in a movie. I got a job. I'm going to be in a movie. And as I said, you'll like it. I'm awful. It's so mean. I'm so mean in it. But yes, we're doing it all. Super stricty, safety. So that's the new thing. The new thing that those of us who are going to work, like my husband goes to work, but they got masks and they got sanitizer, and the general public doesn't come in, and it's just them and their distance, like so strict. So that's the thing. That's the new thing. Those of us who have to go to work, it's like, okay, how do we do this? Stand over there. And we will figure out how to go to work safely. And with all the COVID-19 safety precautions in place. Very rah-rah, proper OSHA, safe workplace. It's going to be very exciting. But I get to play somebody awful. And that's the thing, I'm so mean that nobody gets very close to me anyway. So I should be quite safe. So all of you, wash your hands and you be careful and you wear your little masks, and I will see you tomorrow.